So let's get right into it. We all think we know what FOMO is, right? But what if I told you it's not actually about missing a party? The science behind it points to something way, way deeper.
You know that feeling, don't you? You're just mindlessly scrolling, trying to catch up, but instead of feeling more connected, you just end up feeling exhausted. We're going to figure out exactly why that happens. Okay, so here's the textbook definition we're all familiar with. You see your friends on an incredible trip or at some cool event, and boom, you feel that little pang of anxiety that you're not there, you're missing out on the fun. Seems pretty straightforward.
But here's where it gets interesting. What if that feeling isn't really about the vacation or the party or whatever the experience is? What if the real fear is something much more fundamental, something that's literally hardwired into our social DNA? To really get to the bottom of this, we've got to look at this fascinating psychological experiment that basically peeled back all the layers of FOMO.
And the tool they used to do it was surprisingly simple. It was just a virtual ball-tossing game. But the effect it had on people, well, that was anything but simple.
So here's how it worked. Participants were told they were playing this game online with two other real people. And at first, it's totally normal. Everyone's tossing the ball around. But then, all of a sudden, the other two players just stop throwing the ball to you. You're just left there, watching.
And the result, even though it was a totally meaningless computer game with complete strangers, people felt genuinely hurt. They used words like ignored and excluded. That feeling of being ostracized was powerful, and it was immediate.
And this is the big aha moment that came from the study. FOMO isn't really about missing a fun activity. It's about a much deeper, more primal fear of social exclusion, the fear of being kicked out of the tribe.
So you take this fundamental, ancient fear, and you plug it into our modern digital world. Let's look at how this plays out where we all live now. Social media.
It's kind of the perfect storm, isn't it? You've got a brain that's wired to be terrified of exclusion, and you put it in an environment that constantly shows you 24/7 all the things you might be excluded from.
At the very same time, there's this other force at play, social media fatigue. And you know this feeling. It's that total burnout, the mental exhaustion that comes from the constant scrolling, comparing, and performing online.
So this creates a huge conflict. On one hand, your FOMO is pushing you, telling you to engage more, to stay connected so you don't miss anything. But on the other hand, social media fatigue is pulling you away, telling you to just disconnect and escape the overload. You're caught in a constant tug of war.
Now, you'd think these two opposing forces would just cancel each other out, but they don't. In fact, they do something much worse. They trap us in a vicious, self-reinforcing loop.
And it works just like this. Your fear of missing out makes you use social media more, but all that extra use leads to burnout. So, naturally, you pull back to recover. But in the time that you're away, the world keeps posting, and your FOMO spikes even higher than before. And then the whole cycle starts all over again. It sounds pretty bleak, I know. But here's the good news. There is absolutely a way to break this cycle. And it comes down to actively retraining the thought patterns that keep us trapped in the first place.
This is where something called Cognitive Behavioural Therapy, or CBT, comes into play. It's basically a toolkit that helps you learn how to spot those automatic, unhelpful thoughts. The everyone is having fun without me thoughts, and to actually challenge them, to stop and ask, wait a second, is that thought really true? Before they spiral out of control.
And this isn't just some nice-sounding theory. When you actually applied these CBT techniques to social media anxiety, the impact is clear. It's measurable, and honestly, it's pretty astounding.
Get this, the results from one study are just staggering. After using CBT techniques, people saw a 55% drop in compulsive social media use.
And at the same time, their self-esteem jumped up by a whopping 42%. And to top it all off, their overall anxiety levels were literally cut in half. A 50% reduction. These aren't small adjustments. We're talking about a life-changing shift.
And what this chart really shows is how CBT zeroes in on the very specific anxieties we feel online. You can see it helps tackle the pressure to have the perfect appearance, or the worry about getting enough likes, or that dread you feel when you check your notifications. It's not just a vague concept. It provides targeted relief.
So, let's bring this all together and take a look at the big picture. So here's the bottom line. FOMO isn't about missing a party. It's that deep-seated human fear of social exclusion. Social media can easily trap us in a negative cycle where that fear and our own exhaustion just feed off each other. But, and this is the most important part, we are not powerless.
We have proven tools like CBT that can help us build much healthier online habits. It really comes down to this. If you can change your thoughts, you can absolutely change your experience.
And that leaves us with a final question to think about. Just recognizing that you have the power to challenge your own thoughts is the first step. So what's the one thought you could start with?